welcome to this kind of review thing. As you may recall, I did a Life is Strange 2 episode 1 kind of preview, and I was like, I'm not going to review any of the episodes, I'm just going to wait until the end. Episode 2's rolled around, and I'm kind of like, no, actually I might do episode reviews, because I thought it might be interesting to be able to kind of track kind of how my opinion on this game changes kind of from episode to episode. For those of you who have not seen the episode 1 preview, I'll put a thing up here, but I'm going to be using the video from that. So episode 2 is already out. I've got it downloading on my Xbox One because that's what I got sent over as a copy for that. So, you know, some people like that kind of confirmation that, yes, I do have a free copy of this game, but I'm not really going to let that affect my review. So, you know, don't you worry your pretty little head about that. But, yeah, we've got episode 2 downloading. I'll play that. I'll review that in hopefully a week or so. Because I'm recording this right before I'm going to a game jam, which is, intense two-day kind of gaming event thing. So I'll be out of commission for the weekend. But I will try and get that episode 2 review out to you soon. Hopefully with enough time that I've kind of had enough of a chance to process everything. But yeah, episode 1 came out quite a while ago. I think it was in October, which kind of makes sense because what I'm kind of getting the vibe of from, kind of some of the review materials that I'm seeing is that the game is set over a year. So it might also be that they're trying to set the game's release over the course of a year, which makes sense because this one's supposed to be set during winter, which is, what Americans get right now, whereas right now it's like 30-something degrees and our air conditioner broke down, so yeah. Don't say I don't suffer for my art because I'm not got a fan on right now because that would affect the recording. I wanted to talk about episode 1. I thought it was a very interesting kind of game. I'm going to try and keep this, as spoiler-free as possible. And when I do the final review, maybe I'll delve into spoilers. Maybe I'll do a spoiler-free, spoiler-full. But yeah, no spoilers in this one. With the exception of what happens in the first half an hour, because that's in all the trailers. So kind of in the first half an hour, it's established that, you're a high schooler and you're Hispanic and you've got a younger brother. And due to kind of some misunderstandings and incidents, a police officer approaches you because it looks like you've basically killed some kid. He raises a gun at you, and in a very quick succession, your father comes out, gets shot, and your brother is like, "Hey, I have telekinetic abilities," and throws a police officer and kills him. I thought it was a very exciting move. And I will definitely say, the marketing has always been kind of interesting with this one because there was a lot of marketing on that part of the game, which makes sense because it's pivotal and it, is the inciting incident that causes everything else that we see in the plot. But at the same time, it's the first half an hour. So, I kind of watched that and I was like, well, shit, what else is happening in the game if, all you're showing us is the first half an hour? But, eventually they kind of, showed off other stuff. And it kind of feels like we're kind of in a similar boat with episode 2, but we'll see. That's the inciting incident, and kind of the whole plot kind of revolves around the fact that, you're fugitives because you've killed a cop. Your friends and family are trying to get in contact with you. It's kind of a really crazy thing from then on, and essentially the arc of the season seemingly is God, I don't remember the names of all the kids. Sean and Daniel are essentially trying to escape, trying to get to Mexico, to get out of the country, and it's kind of this long kind of road trippy kind of season that they're going for. which is interesting. Like, I kind of worried a lot when I heard about that because I've played the first Life is Strange, and the first Life is Strange is kind of, this Twin Peaksy kind of like small town, a few there's quite a few characters. You've got like a few teachers, you've got a few students, you've got their families, and it's all very interconnected. Whereas Life is Strange 2 is like there's these two brothers and then everything else is a rotating cast. Which, don't get me wrong, I love anthologies, but that definitely seems like a very difficult place, a very difficult setting to be putting something that is primarily about dialogue and primarily about choices. But at the same time, I kind of saw throughout the episode how there's all these little nods to morality, because that's kind of a big part of the choices is the relationship between Sean and Daniel, and you're trying to, teach Daniel the ways of, being a good person and stuff. But then you also have issues of, well, I don't have any money for food, so should I just steal it? But if I do that, then, my brother will think it's okay to steal. So there's a lot of stuff like that. And another thing that I also noticed a lot with that was there was this really interesting undercurrent of kind of politics to it. And I'm interested but nervous, because I'm very much into, starting conversations and stuff. We had the whole Gillette ad with, toxic masculinity and stuff. And don't get me wrong, like, I find it kind of sad that we live in a society where that kind of, those kinds of very big conversations are mediated by, advertisers. But at the same time, those are conversations that we need to have. So I'm kind of a bit torn about it being used in this, because I can see it being a very interesting story, but I can also see that just kind of being just used kind of for the sake of, we're starting a conversation and therefore the game is good, like trying to almost make it above criticism to a certain extent, which I'm not saying that, that's intentionally what the developers are doing, but I'm nervous that that's kind of where the discourse might end up going, so to say. And they do it really well sometimes, like, as I previously said, there's the temptation to steal, and going along with that, though, is when even if you buy stuff, like I personally just like bought stuff, I just didn't buy a lot, even when you like not stealing stuff and you go up to pay, there's this inference that the cashier is suspicious of you stealing stuff, which, I think makes sense. And, when she's also suspicious of you, it kind of makes sense because you're just like a teenager and a little brother roaming around, seemingly without parents. But at the same time, you could argue, oh, they're teenagers and they're Hispanic, therefore they're criminals. Which, I'm not saying that they are, but, it's not exactly clear why that person is suspicious of you, because, they might also know about the whole fugitive thing. And I think all those kind of are very nice, because it does kind of give you this unease and this anxiety, and you're not entirely certain, if it's like someone being racist or someone being suspicious or someone being, well knowledgeable of like all the news that's going on in the world, well, not in the world, but just in the city where you've killed a police officer. So I thought there were definitely moments where it worked really well, but I thought there were also really moments where it felt a little over the top. Like, I was going to actually do like a whole kind of essay, kind of like a video essay on this, but I kind of realized, I don't actually know what the experience of, experiencing racism is, so I was like, I might, step back from that a little bit. But yeah, it's an interesting game. The problem, I guess, that I have is I'm still not convinced that having all these separate stories. Like, seemingly they're going to be like kind of these 5 separate stories that form this arc of, you know, these 2 boys traveling to Mexico. But I'm not convinced that that is going to make for a very cohesive story. Of course, like, you know, we'll be waiting until like the final episode where they'll probably drop, you know, some massive twist or some massive choice that, you know, whoa, everything is different. So you know, I do 100% hope by doing these episode reviews that, you know, we'll see it tracking upwards. But at this point, especially with you know, episode 2 that I'm about to play, I'm really nervous. I'll definitely say that I've been nervous for a Life is Strange series before, and I've been very pleasantly surprised. So I'm very much hoping that we do that. But yeah, like, obviously at this point I can't exactly say whether or not I'll like it. Yeah, I'm just a bit on edge, I suppose. But yeah, I'm gonna go play Life is Strange episode 2. I'll see you guys in like a week or so, where I'll give you a bit of a heads up of what I think about that. And yeah, and hopefully I do a good game jam. I don't know why I'm just congratulating myself. I should be congratulating you, humble viewer, for watching and supporting and subscribing, which, you know, if you haven't, don't let me thanking you be in vain. So subscribe, because we've got lots of awesome video content. And yeah, stay tuned to all the 8-bit stuff, because we've got some big things coming. Yeah, check out all the podcasts and, of course, all the lovely videos by myself and others. And I will see you guys a bit later. Bye! Much love, stay hungry, that stuff. Yep, bye.